From news and views, issues and opportunities, we'll have in-depth conversations with decision makers to find out what they know and what they think. I'm Rico Hizon, inviting you to join the exchange because your business is our business. The Philippines, once an exporter of rice in the late 1970s, now faces food insecurity issues because of a production shortfall. Destructive typhoons, high prices of basic goods, lack of access, and the COVID-19 pandemic have forced more than half of the 110 million people into hunger and poverty. Among the hard-hit sectors, farmers and fishermen who produce our food. A sizable group of Filipinos is suffering from hunger, a problem that policymakers and the agricultural sector have tried to address. And one of the stopgap solutions, import food. While it provides relief for the consumer, producers are crying out for help. The vision of empowering farmers towards a more productive agriculture sector in our C-Suite vision. In a nation of 110 million people, a sizable portion of the population suffers from hunger. According to the United Nations, 59 million Filipinos lack consistent access to food from 2017 to 2019. And to make matters worse, the pandemic, now on its second year, has made the situation more difficult, especially for the poor. Let's now have an exchange with Agriculture Secretary William Dar. Secretary, maraming salamat po for joining us. Bakit po natin kailangan mag-import ng asukal?
Why import sugar? Alam niyo bago dumating ang typhoon Odette, maganda po ang pag-angat ng ating sugar industry. Laman lang natamaan yung karamihan ng sugar industry dyan sa Visayas at saka sa Mindanao. So ang latest na analysis ng Sugar Regulatory Administration ay talaga mayroon pagkukulang.
Nag-i-import tayo ng 200,000 metric tons of refined sugar. Hindi ba po masyadong marami ito? At ito pa ay sa kasagsagan ng harvest and milling season.
Ang mga industries po ay may panukala na gawa karamihan sila gumagamit ng asukal, ay sila naman yung pagbigyan ng kalahati nitong 200,000 ay para sa industries na gumagamit ng asukal. So hindi po babahain but just enough to mitigate itong deficiency.
So hanggang kailan po mamimitigate itong deficiency in the supply?
Well, this is for the crop year na 2021-2022, which will end August this year.
All right. Hindi lang po asukal, kahit isda, imported na. Sinasabi ng ating mga mangingisda, meron tayong sufficient supply of fish itong first quarter.
The data reveals, PSA dito po, Rico, pinag-usapan, Philippine Statistics Authority, ay may projected na dito sa first quarter na lang ay 119 million metric tons, 119 days, 119,000 metric tons na deficiency. So ito, this is historical account. At sino yung paniniwalaan mo? Yung bang mayroon tayong datos na sustained over the years by the NEDA PSA or yung anecdotal account ng mga mangingisda?
So, Secretary Dar, pakinggan po natin ngayon si Senator Cynthia Villar tungkol sa fish importation.
Dapat, pagkatapos ng audit, namigay ka na ng bangka. Bakit ang sagot agad ay importation? Ang dami pwedeng gawin eh. Sabihin mo kay Secretary Dar, alam mo, napapansin ng lahat ng tao yan. Na ang solution niya sa lahat ng problema, importation.
Totoo yan, Madam Chair.
I-review mo yan kasi hindi maganda yan.
Ayan po, Secretary Dan, narinig nyo si Senator Villar. Ang recommendation niya ay hindi importation, kundi suspension ng so-called closed season or the period during which the taking of specified fishery species by a specified fishing gear is prohibited in a specific area or areas. Bakit hindi nyo po ito ginawa?
Well, itong close fishing season ay mayroon rason yun, Rico. Alam natin degraded or talagang yung mga natural resources diyan sa karagatan ay degraded na, kulang ang isda doon. So for sustainability reasons at ano na lang naman yung 60,000 na inaprubahan kasi yun lang ang inaprubahan natin at yung sinabi po nila na pwedeng mangisda, ay apektado nga yung mga mangingisda, gawa yung mga bangka nila ay nasira. Wala silang fishing gear. So, madali magsalita pero ang dami natin ikonsidera yung other factors na bakit natin nag-decide ng 60,000 na importasyon.
Ngayon, pakinggan rin po natin si Senator Manny Pacquiao at ang kanyang saloobin tungkol sa importation ng agricultural products.
Sila po ay alamin natin, imbestigahan po natin kung may mga matataas o mayayaman na nagsamantala dyan, kailangan yung taong bayan, lalo-lalo yung mga taga-Laguna ang makinabang.
Ayan po, no? Ang Department of Agriculture, sinasabi po nila hindi na ina-address ang food self-sufficiency ng bansa, kundi import ng import.
Rico, let me highlight again my response to that is ang daling magsalita. Hindi nila alam yung sitwasyon ng Pilipinas. Okay, ang alam nila, ang daming tubig, ang daming mga karagatan. Pero all this time, nakikita natin yung mga datos na accounting everything, including sustainability concerns. Yung fisheries ay may kakulangan that level this quarter. So, anticipated na yan. At habang tinataas natin yung capacity to produce more, catch more, pero it will take time. Hindi mo yan maura-urada. Bibili ka ng bangka, mayroon ba na manufacture agad-agad na bangka para sa mga small fisher folks? Ay yun, the data will support us in many ways. Ang gusto ko rin i-highlight, Rico, all this time, alam ko na ang Pilipinas pa rin ay net importing. That's why tinataas natin yung productivity levels kada taon. At ano naman yung binibigay nila na budget except for one commodity. Okay, sa rice for example, Rico, maganda ang budgetary support sa production ay 62 billion pesos yan. Kasama na yung NIA budget na 30 million plus 7 billion, 30 billion NIA, 7 billion NFA ay tumataas po yung level na food sufficiency sa rice. Nasa 92% na tayo. At meron tayong new record harvest again this last year. 19.96 million metric tons. So yung pupunuan mo, it's becoming smaller. Ganun po ang ensuring food security. You need to enhance local production by way of boosting productivity levels. Then, para mas mataas din yung kita ng mangingisda, magsasaka at towards competitiveness para pwede tayo makipagtunggali sa iba't ibang countries.
Maraming salamat po, Secretary, for this Food Security Exchange, Agricultural Secretary William Dar. As fuel prices rise for an 8th consecutive week, a transport group warns of a possible big-time nationwide strike if regulators won't heed their fare increase petitions. One Utak, Pasang Mazda, Altodap, and Acto want a 5 peso increase in the minimum fare for jeepneys in Metro Manila, Central Luzon, and Calabarzon. But ahead of the scheduled hearing with the LTFRB on March 8th, transport groups are requesting for a 1 peso adjustment in the interim. LTOP says the government has not paid attention to an earlier petition filed in October which seeks a provisional 2 peso fare hike due to the impact of COVID-19, inflation, and higher fuel prices on drivers. The LTFRB says it is open to a separate dialogue to prevent a possible transportation strike. And straight ahead on the exchange, where your business is our business. We hear from a fisherman and a 2021 Ramon Magsaysay awardee about what the government should do to support the agricultural sector. And we take a look at this rice-producing company and how it is helping farmers become productive. You're watching CNN Philippines. News you can use, news you can trust. Glad you're staying with us right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. The Management Association of the Philippines, or MAP, urges the government to welcome foreign observers for the May 9th elections. In a statement to CNN Philippines, MAP President Alfredo Pascual said the country cannot afford to lose its privileges in the general system of Preferences Plus, which helps solidify our trade position in the European market. Pascual warns Philippine exports will become uncompetitive in Europe if the GSP Plus benefits are withdrawn. Farmers, fishermen, and small business workers in the supply chains of exporters will suffer. The EU Parliament recently passed a resolution urging the EU to suspend the Philippines' GSP Plus privileges over alleged human rights violations. The government's import plan to stabilize food supply puts farmers and fishermen at the losing end. Let's now have an exchange with Zamboanga Sibugay fisherman Kadodoy Balyon, a 2021 Ramon Magsaysay awardee, and sugarcane farmer in Negros, Argin Seron. Maraming salamat po for joining us on The Exchange. Kadodoy, umpisan natin sa inyo. Napakinggan natin, no, si Secretary Dar. Mag-i-import daw tayo ng 60,000 metric tons of fish. Kasama na dito ang galunggong. Sa inyong palagay, may problema pa talaga tayo sa supply ng isda?
Hindi ho kami sa ako ay isa ding mangingisda na membro ng ng Municipal Fisheries and Aquatic Resource Management Council, at may mga kasamahan kami na narekomenda doon sa national na yung NFarmC. Hindi ho namin nirekomenda yan na mag-import ng isda dahil marami tayong supply galing sa Zamboanga Peninsula, Northern Palawan at saka Visayan Sea. So hindi tayo ng problema ng supply ng isda.
Kung hindi tayo problema, bakit sinasabi ng ating gobyerno kailangan natin mag-import dahil marami sa ating mga mangingisda ay natamaan ng Odette?
Ayun, mga sa pagtaya namin, yun ang mga lugar na tinatamaan, yun ang kulang. Kaya dapat may gagawin ang ating pangisdaan dyan na yung mga tulad sa amin dito, marami kaming surplus dito sa Region 9. So pwede silang padalan pa at sana hindi abot sa pag-i-import para mabuhay naman kaming mga mangingisda na mapakain natin yung ating mga sa kapwa Pilipino na tayo din ang sinusupply para makatulong tayo sa lahat.
Ayun pala pwede tayo magtulungan, hindi ba? Yung mga iba't ibang rehiyon, pwede magtulungan. Kung kulang ang supply sa isang rehiyon, pwedeng kumuha ng isda sa ibang rehiyon.
Tama po, tama. Yun sana ang ginawa ng ating nasa gobyerno. Kaso hindi namin alam paano nangyari kasi hindi naman kami nag-advise na magkaroon tayo ng import.
So Ma'am Arjen, tingnan naman natin ngayon ang asukal. Ang gobyerno mag-i-import ng 200,000 metric tons of refined sugar. Sinabi yan ni Secretary Gar sa kasagsagan pa naman ng harvest and milling season. Kailangan ba talaga mag-import?
Wala sa lahat hindi pwede mag-import kasi yung kawayan ng mga maliliit na mag-uuma dito halos maliit na mga nataniman ng mga tubo. Hindi naman pwede na mag-import sila kasi mamamatay yung mga maliliit na mga mag-uuma. Kasi yun lang kawayan.
Pero sinasabi po ng gobyerno, kulang na kulang ang supply ng asukal.
Hindi kulang na kulang. Kasi dito lang ang produkto ng asukal. Hindi pwede na magkulang, hindi na pwede na mag-import sila. Pero sa kanila, unti-unti nila na pinapatay yung mga maliliit na mga mag-uuma. Kung pag-usapan natin yung sugar industry.
So, Kadodoy, nakausap rin namin no, si Senator Cynthia Villar at sinasabi niya hindi importasyon talaga ang solusyon kundi suspension ng closed season or yung period during which the taking of specified fishery species by specified fishing gear is prohibited in a specified area or areas. Ito ba ang isa sa solusyon para magkaroon tayo ng supply at hindi mag-import ng isda?
Tama po, tama. Isa yan sa mga nirekomenda natin na kaya nga maganda yung naging resulta ng ating close season dahil napadamin pa natin yung ating isda. Sa ngayon, ang lulumo kung bakit ay dumating tayo sa punto na pag-import ng isda, na marami naman tayong isda at kaya naman nating ibigay yung kakulangan kung mabigyan lang ng sapat na tulong at suporta yung ating mga mangingisda, both commercials and municipals or capture fisheries. Maliban pa sa aquaculture. Yun po ang pinagtataka po natin.
So Ma'am Arjen, ano po ang solusyon para may sapat na supply ang ating mga kababayan ng asukal?
Ay dapat walang importasyon sa asukal at saka bigyan naman nila ng mga support services yung mga maliliit na mag-uuma.
Kadodoy, ano pa ang kailangan ang solusyon para matugunan natin ang mga problema ng ating mga mangingisda?
Yan po isa. Kaya nga bago lang natapos yung pagpaplano at ilang taon na rin kami o ilang ikada nagpapaplano na yung nire-request namin na palakasin yung ating industriya ng pangisdaan. Example dyan, padamihin po natin ang ating mga aquaculture support, yung ating mga hatcheries tulad ng mga bangos, tilapia. Dahil tayo mga Pilipino, hindi naman tayo nabubuhay sa galunggong. Lahat po ng isda tulad ng sinasabi ko, tilapia at bangos, pwede po natin yan magiging food security pagdating sa fishery sector. At sana yung mga food service facilities, kasi anong 2011 pa, na nagkaroon ng mga programang close season. Bakit hindi yan na-predict na sana sa darating na panahon pag nagkukulang pala, sana pinalakas at sinuportaran yung ating mga aquaculture at capture fisheries at kung may sobrang mga isda, sana mayroon mga cold storage or cold chains na para magsusuporta doon para sasabihin natin na pag nagkulang ng isda, may papagkukunan tayo. Yun po ang hiningi po namin na talagang bigyan ng suporta itong sa aquaculture, itong sa mga municipal at panatilihin at palakasin ang pangangalaga sa ating karagatan tulad ng mga mangrove, pagtatanim, pangangalaga sa mga corals at mga seagrasses. Yun po. At pag-organize ng mga kooperatiba at asosasyon ng mga mangingisda.
Ma'am Arjen, marami ng problema ang sugar industry. Ang taas na nga ng gastos ng fertilizer at gasolina. Tapos mag-i-import pa ng asukal.
Opo. Kaya nga, sabi ko, yung gobyerno mismo, magbigay ng tulong para sa mga mag-uuma, hindi naman importasyon ang solusyon. At saka mahal yung lahat ng mga bilihin, paano mabuhay kaming mga mag-uuma?
Maraming salamat po sa inyong dalawa, Kadodoy at Ma'am Arjen Seron. And still ahead on the exchange, where your business is our business. This rice processing business wants to transform the rice industry. We have an exchange with the founders of Chenyi Ag Ventures next. Keep it right here on CNN Philippines. News you can use, news you can trust. Glad you're staying with us right here on the exchange where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. The devastation from Typhoon Yolanda in 2013 led a French-Italian and Filipino-Chinese couple to find their calling. Help farmers recover and make sure they won't suffer the same fate again. Let's now have an exchange with Patrick Renucci and Rachel Renucci-Tan on how their state-of-the-art rice processing center helps transform the lives of farmers in Leyte. Thank you so much to you both for joining us. Rachel, let's start off with you. You and your husband uprooted yourselves from your Paris home and relocated to the Philippines. What motivated you to invest in agriculture?
Yes, sure. So at the time, actually, I was living in Hong Kong running a real estate fund. We had restructured a $1 billion real estate fund investing in China. And we were also managing another $200 million fund, a Chinese fund. My husband was one of the largest printers in Paris. And together we decided that we needed to add more meaning into our lives because we weren't getting any younger. That was the time that Typhoon Yolanda had struck the Philippines. And so I decided in 2014 to make my way back home to just check it out and to understand how we could help. This led to a feasibility study on the rice industry because I noticed that Leyte had so many rice fields. Like it's actually one of the most productive palay producing areas of the country. But there were no post-harvest facilities. Whatever little post-harvest facilities there were devastated and ravaged by Yolanda, by the typhoon.
You have been very successful at that, Rachel. So Patrick, share with us, what was me do to make the country less dependent on rice importation when decades ago we were exporters of rice?
Yes. Rico, okay, I will try to answer this question, but the question is very complex. Because the government now is really helping a lot the farmer, introducing mechanization, massively providing mechanization to the farmer, providing seeds, providing fertilizer. There is free water for all the farmer in the Philippines. So the government is already helping a lot. So they're already starting the process of changing the rice industry in the Philippines. But obviously we can see it's not enough because the government is trying to help and spending a huge amount of money with the RTLO and the RCEF program, with TESDA, also ATI, but we don't see the change or the improvement fast enough. So we have to go deeper inside the rice crisis and our rice crisis with our farmer. Today, the government is doing the job, spending, helping, but we need to understand why there is not the positive impact expected. So if we look a little bit deeper, we also have to take a look at the agrarian reform law. Because most of our farmers in the Philippines, are not landowner, are not tenants, they are only caretaker. And that's, I believe, it's one of the major problems. A caretaker, unfortunately, cannot, they don't have any security. That means they can be removed from the farm anytime by the landowner.
All right. So Rachel, you and your husband have been very effective in bringing your local rice to market. And you've said that it is the rice of the Filipinos. What has made your farm-to-market business model successful?
Yes. So most important for any rice producer is to control as much of the value chain as is possible and integrate it. So we start with the farmers. We've, in fact, already established a school. We have over 1,000 students, and they're the children of farmers, and we teach them high-tech farming. This allows us to control the quality of the palay that we eventually buy from them. We've also had our Renucci partnership where we've trained, again, it's more training of the farmers to produce high-quality palay. And since we're the biggest buyer of palay in the region, we're able to control the supply in the area. And then we do all the processing, rice processing ourselves in our own facilities. We're very careful with classifying the palay into good, medium, and bad, and therefore reserving the good only for our premium rice and the not so good for a lower category of rice. And then we control the distribution of our rice all the way to customers in Manila. So because of the pandemic, we've had to pivot to e-commerce. And right now we can proudly say we are the largest seller of rice on e-commerce, on social media, on the internet. We're selling sometimes 6 tons per day of rice.
That's excellent.
And then we also...
Yeah. And Patrick,
Yes.
can this rice model be replicated so we can increase rice harvests?
Yes. And that's what we hope, that everybody is going to replicate our model and to try to be more sustainable. Because the concern of agri and rice, it's the concern of all the Filipinos. So we should work all together. And of course, technology and capital, it's very important, but it's not enough. We have to understand also one of the major problems here in the Philippines, it's the middlemen. So, of course, we need technology, we need capital, but we need also to regulate the shark loan, as we call it. And this will be a big change for the farmers.
And Rachel, no, the rice
Yes.
tarification law is being discussed right now during
Correct.
this ongoing campaign. In your view,
Yes.
is it a friend or an enemy to farmers?
Well, let's see why it was established in the first place. It was established to assist in our food security efforts because there's not enough local rice. It's claimed that we cannot plant enough local rice. Second goal of RTL is to enable farmers to compete with foreign farmers because they said if we bring in imported rice that's cheaper, the farmers will be forced to become more efficient and bring down their costs and increase their yields. Okay, that was the goal. Has government been successful? I am sad to report that they haven't because we live this and we see that the farmers have not reduced their cost of production. The national yield has not budged much. And we see that the cost of palay is amongst the highest in the whole of Asia. It's still at 17, 18 pesos per kilo, when in Vietnam it's at 7 pesos per kilo. The cost of production must not be far from the price of palay. So has it helped the farmers get out of poverty by making them more as competitive as their Vietnamese counterparts? No, it hasn't. And the farmers continue to be baon sa utang, the debt cycle, poor, and definitely unable to compete with their Southeast Asian neighbors.
Thank you
Yes,
so much
that's,
for this agribusiness exchange, Patrick Rinucci and Rachel Rinucci-Tan. And this is the exchange who makes sense of the facts and the figures and the ups and downs of the business cycle, because your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Thanks for watching CNN Philippines. News you can use, news you can trust.